Hello everyone, welcome back to another session of AWS Mastery course. So in the last session, we have understood like how we can launch the Windows instance, how we can configure and manage the Windows instance. But in this particular session, we are going to understand like how we can launch the Linux instance, how we can configure it, and after creating the Linux instance, after connecting with the Linux instance successfully, how we can run the different Linux command by using the terminal of our Linux machine. So these are the things which we are going to, I can say, learn in this particular session. So now after learning how we can launch the Windows instance, now the time is like how we can launch the Linux instance. So whenever we are talking about the Linux server, or we are talking about the server as a whole, so there are like mainly we have two servers. First one is Windows server, another one is Linux server. And we have already understood like how we can create the Windows instance, or we can say how we can create a Windows server. Now the time is like we are going to understand like how we can launch the Linux instance or a server. Okay, so now let's just go to our what I can say AWS platform, and now let's try to understand practically how we can learn how to launch the Linux instance. So now once we are on this screen, we have to, I can say, name our instance. So I'm just saying my Linux instance. Okay, I'm just naming it as my Linux instance. And the next thing is like application and OS images, or we can say like AMI, or we can say Amazon machine images. Okay, so out of these images, out of these ISO images, kind of we can understand we need to choose one machine. So here we are getting Ubuntu as well, but let's just browse like for more machines. So we are having AWS over here, we are having Mac OS over here. So we are having lots of machines over here, but out of these we are just going to choose Ubuntu server, like it is a Linux server, what we can say. And now let's just select. So now we have got this what I can say Ubuntu server over here, like Ubuntu 24.04 and AMD 64 noble image, and we are having all the information like about the architecture, about the virtualization, about the root device, and everything we are having. Okay, so now the next thing is instance type. So as of now, like we are using free tier account, and you already know like when we are using free tier account, so we are having some limitations. Okay, like we need to, I can say, keep this thing in our mind, like we are having some limited resources, or what we can say limited hours in order to use the resource. Otherwise, like the billing cycle will start, and you will end up paying something. So now it is saying like t3 to dot micro. So it's a kind of instance we are having, so we don't have to do anything with this. Now next thing which we are having is key pair. So when we talk about the key pair is kind of a thing by which we can actually what I can say get the password for the instance. Means it is for the better security purposes. Means whenever we are going to connect with this instance, okay, by using any third party tool or anywhere like in the world, we will be having one username, and then we'll be having the password. But as of now, I don't think like we required any password, so I'm just clicking it on like proceed without a key pair. Okay, and once we are done with this, then we are having this network setting. So just keep this thing as default, we are not going to change anything apart from this configuration setting. So we are having all these setting like configuration, like storage we are having 8 GB, then GPT-3 GP3 kind of root volume we are having. And now that's it. Okay, so we have selected each and everything. Now let's just click on launch instance. So we have successfully launched a instance, and now let's just check like whether our instance is working, or means is in running state or not. Let's just click on instance. Okay, so the instance which we have created with the name like my Linux instance, it is running perfectly. As you can see the instance state, and we are having other information as well. So in order to connect with this Linux instance, we need to click on this connect button. Once you will click on this checkbox, then let's just click on this connect. So once you have clicked on this, and you will see these options like connect to EC2 instance. Okay, so we are having one option like when we talk about this EC2 Linux instance, so we are having lots of options. Like we can connect through like EC2 instance connect, we can connect through SSH client, we can connect through third party tools like Putty or Remina for Linux, or like lots of tools are available. But as of now, like we are just going to connect with the EC2 instance connect, and with the help of this, like this machine is going to get launched within this environment, means within this browser as well. Okay, so now let's just click over here. Okay, so as you can see, my machine is working perfectly fine. And as you can see, we got this, what I can say, this window. Okay, so with this window, we can understand like our machine is working. Like the name of this machine like is Ubuntu, and this is the IP address which we are having. So now we have successfully launched our machine, and now let's understand like how we can work on this machine and how we can perform different tasks on this particular machine. So as you can see, like I'm inside my Linux machine. So this is the terminal. So as you can see, like this is the Linux terminal, and it is in the browser only. But as you can see, like if I talk about my normal system, like my whole system, so I'm using Parrot OS as my default operating system because I'm not using Windows. Okay, I'm not a Windows user. So as you can see, like if I show you the terminal, so this is the terminal as you can see on your screen. This is the actual terminal of your Linux machine. But here we are using Linux machine in I can say AWS platform, and we have selected EC2 connect. That's why we are getting this in our browser. Okay, so this what I can say, like this terminal, like this actual terminal of my Linux machine, of my what I can say, of my personal Linux machine, and the Linux terminal of this AWS is almost same. Okay, there is no difference between these. But we can say like this is a cloud machine, this machine is running on cloud, and this is a physical machine available in my system. Okay, so now let's just check the IP address. So how I can check? So I'm just writing if config. Okay, so when I'm saying if config, it is saying if config not found but can be installed. So as of now, if config command is not there in our Linux, but if I enter this if config in my system, so it is saying not command not found. Okay, so maybe like this command is not working as of now. So I can check the IP address by different commands as well. So as you can see, like I'm getting IPv6 type of IP address. Okay, and here my IP address is also there. Okay, so like here I'm going to just check the IP address. So how I can do that? So in order to install this, like we have already this command. So sudo apt install and then net tools. Okay, so now as you can see, like it is downloading something in our Linux system, and some processes are going on. And now if I type if config, so as you can see, I'm getting the IP address of my machine. Okay, as you can see, I'm getting the IP address, which is 172.1.31.46.52. Okay, so this is why I'm reading in this, because first like I'm reading in a very layman term, but actual way of reading the IP address is 172.31.46.52. so this is how you can actually read this. And this is the IPv4 address, and this one is IPv6 address. So we have two versions of IP. The first version is IPv6 and the second version is IPv4. And if I talk about the difference between IPv6 and IPv4, so IPv4 is the older version. And the thing is, like when IPv4 came, so there was some limitation with this IPv4. So the limitation was like how many devices can be connected with this. So the number is if you search on Google, so the one number which is floating everywhere on Google, which is 4.3 billion devices. Okay, but as of now in our world, like 8 billion people are there. So what we can say, like the number of user which we can connect with the IPv4 is limited. So then computer scientists actually think about something different, and they came up with the idea of IPv6. Okay, and IPv6 we don't have any kind of limitation. We can connect as many as machine we want. Okay, so this is how you can actually see the I can say IP address. Now let me check whether this machine is connected with internet or not. Obviously, like I'm doing this on cloud, so obviously this machine is connected, but in order to check whether this machine is working fine or connected properly on any system, what I can do, I will check ping Google. Okay, so it is saying okay, it is saying temporary failure in name resolution. Okay, there is some issue with the name. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to type the IP of Google, which is 8.8.8.8, and as you can see, I'm getting the what I can see, I'm getting the request. Okay, so if I terminate this, if I what I can say, terminate this command, so as you can see, 7 packet transmitted, 7 packet received, 0 packet loss, and time taken is 6008 millisecond. Okay, kind of. So we can understand like the number of packet which we have transmitted, we have received the same amount of data packets from the Google. That means our system or our machine is completely connected and it is working properly. Okay, so this is how we can actually understand about the I can say, like how we can check whether a machine is running I can say using internet or not, or it is connected to the internet or not. Okay, so this is how we can understand this. So now the next thing is, like when we are installing or when we are launching Linux instance, so in that scenario, like are we able to use this Linux instance? So in order to use Linux, like we need some commands. We need to what I can say, we need to understand the commands, like how Linux works. So if I compare between Linux and the Windows, so Windows is GUI based, means graphical user interface. Like you are having lots of things which you can actually like you can click on buttons, you can do lots of things. But when it's come to the Linux part, so Linux is what I can say, the combination of GUI and CLI. Okay, command line interface. Okay, so we are having terminal, and in terminal, in order to do anything, we need to type a particular command, and we can perform the operation which we are looking for or which we want to I can say perform. So how we can do that? So in order to do that, we need to understand some Linux command. So now I'm going to teach you about the Linux command, or I can say as a whole Linux operating system. Okay, so let's start this. So now let's understand this. So in order to I can say show you the Linux command, first I'm just opening my notepad. Okay, so first of all, we need to understand like what is Linux. Okay, so the question is, what is Linux? So now the question is, what is Linux? So Linux is just an operating system. Okay, and it is a Unix based operating system. Okay, so there is one guy like who, like his name is Linus Torvald. Okay, so Linus Torvald actually created this Linux operating system, and it is based on Unix, so that's why the name is Linux. Okay, Linus plus Unix, Linux. Okay, so Linux is just an operating system. Okay, and in Linux we generally perform our operation on terminal. Okay, we perform our operation in terminal. But when we talk about the Windows, so in Windows we are having CMD. Okay, what we are having, we are having CMD in Windows. So in order to perform anything in Windows, we are having CMD, where we can type command and we can execute something. And CMD is totally different. The commands which we are having in CMD are actually different. Like few commands are similar, but most of the commands are different. Okay, so we are having terminal. Okay, so terminal is like, this is the terminal. Okay, here you can type any command and you can actually perform something. Okay, so now after what I can say, understanding what is Linux, so there is one more thing, which is Linux kernel. Okay, so Linux kernel is basically a something by which we can interact with the system. Okay, so I'm talking about the Linux kernel. Okay, so kernel is basically a something which by which we can connect with, communicate with our hardware. Okay, so now let's suppose you are having one RAM in your hand. Okay, so the RAM is like in the physical form. Okay, so I'm giving you one RAM, and your RAM is not connected with any system or anything else. So without connecting that RAM to your system, can you use that? Okay, so it is not possible. And when you are using, when you are connecting that RAM to your CPU or your laptop, if you don't have any display device, are you able to understand whether this RAM is working or not? Okay, so in order to understand the what I can say performance of this particular RAM device, or what we can say any device, we need to check, we need to have something where we can actually check the performance. Okay, means we need a software. Okay, so let's suppose we are having keyboard, and if we are hitting keys on our keyboard, like, and we don't have any display device, we are not able to understand whether this particular keyboard is working or not. Okay, means you are giving instruction, you are doing something on a device and giving instruction, and the hardware device is working on that. Okay, so in between you and your hardware device, or I can say software and the hardware of the system, there is something called kernel. Okay, kernel is kind of a mediator which is actually giving commands or passing command to the, what I can say, to the hardware, and the hardwares are performing well. Okay, so this is how we can understand about this. So now, before doing Linux, so now I'm just writing Linux basic commands. Okay, so now Linux basic command, the first command which we are having in Linux is if config. Okay, if config, and this command is used to check the IP address. This command is used to check the IP address of the system. Okay, and after this command we are having something called command which is who am I. Okay, now we are having command which is who am I. Now let me show you how this command actually works. I'm just writing who am I, and it is saying you are Ubuntu. Okay, so in order to check like which user is working, which user is actually I can say doing work on this, you just have to type who am I. Okay, apart from that we are having one more command which is who, and with the who command, like, you can see this information in a more detailed manner. Okay, and after this we are having one more command which is just w, and with the help of w we can get the all the system detail. Okay, so we are saying we are having a user Ubuntu, and this user is logging from this time to this, and idle for 1.5 45 what I can say minutes, and this is what, like, we are having all the information. Okay, so now the commands which we are having is who am I, then who, and then w. Okay, so in order to check the systems related information, we are having these commands. Okay, now let's understand the very I can say important commands of Linux. So first which we are having command is commands are, what I can say, directory commands. Okay, so now we are having directory commands, and in first, like, the first directory command which we are having is mkdir. What we are having? Mkdir, and this command is used for creating a directory. Creating a directory. Okay, and how we can create a directory, let me show you. So creating a directory is basically a folder which you are creating in your Windows machine. Okay, so now let me just type mkdir. Okay, I hope you guys are able to see. Now you can see this properly. Now mkdir and the name of your directory. So my name is Tajwar, and I'm just writing my name. I'm just saying my system, just make a directory with the name Tajwar, okay, which is mkdir Tajwar. Okay, so mkdir stands for make directory with the name Tajwar, and if I'm hitting enter, so I'm not getting anything. Okay, so in order to check whether this directory has been created or not, we are having one command which is ls. Okay, the command which we are having is ls, and as you can see, this directory is there. Okay, with the help of this ls command, we are able to see like whether our directory has been created or not. So the next command which we are having is ls, and ls is basically stands for list show. Okay, so ls stands for list show, means whatever the things are there in that particular folder, directory, or location, we can actually see that. Okay, so by just doing ls we are able to see this. So let me just refresh my machine. Okay, So as you can see, ls command, and with the help of this ls command we are able to see like we have created this directory. Okay, so now I want to go inside this directory and I want to check like what exactly is there, or like whether is there anything or not. So in order to check this, go inside this directory, we are having a command called cd. Cd means change directory. So I'm just saying cd tajwar. So if I'm doing this, so as you can see, like I'm inside this directory, which is Tajwar, which we have created. So now if I'm putting ls, so you can see like I don't have anything over here. Okay, so this is how we can actually understand. So the next directory is what we can say is cd, and the cd stands for change directory. Okay, so we are having change directory. Okay, so now the question is arising, like if we are able to go inside any directory, can we go outside this directory, can we go back like by like the way we are doing in windows? Okay, so as you can see, first before doing that, I'm having command which is pwd. Pwd basically stands for print working directory, means where exactly you are working at that particular moment. So as you can see, I'm having one folder home. Inside this home I'm having ubuntu, and inside this ubuntu I'm having this folder as tajwar. So this is the current location in which I'm actually working. So now we are having the command which is pwd, and with the help of pwd we can actually, what we can do, we can print the current working directory. Okay, print current working directory. Okay, wherever you are working you can just do that. Okay, now the thing is I want to go back to the the last location where we were having, means I want to go outside this folder, this directory, which is the folder which we have created, okay, with the name Tajwar. So what you have to do, you have to just type cd and then space and then double dot, cd space double dot, and go back. Okay, to go back we are having cd. Okay, so now let me just type cd space double dot, and as you can see I'm outside this folder Tajwar. Now let me check the print working directory, like current working directory. So I'm just typing. Now as you can see we are having ubuntu over here. Earlier I was in the folder Tajwar, now I'm in my folder which is ubuntu. So this is how we can actually go inside any folder, inside the folder, or we can go back to the I can say parent location, or we can get out from the particular folder. So this is how we can actually understand. So as of now, what we have learned, how to check the IP address. We have learned like how we can check, how we can create the directory, and how we can actually go inside this directory and we can check what we are having inside this directory. Means we have done like mkdir ls cd, okay, in order to go inside this directory, and cd space double dot to go out from the directory, and we have also done pwd. So these are the basic commands which we have performed as of now. So the next command which we are having to delete this particular directory. Okay, so if we are able to create any directory, we can obviously we can delete this particular directory. So in order to delete this directory, we are having a command which is rmdir. So the meaning of rmdir is basically remove directory. Okay, what it is, remove directory. So I'm saying rmdir Tajwar, and if I'll press enter with this, and if I type ls, so as you can see I'm not having any directory with the name Tajwar. So what I have done, I have deleted the directory. Let me show you once again. So I'm just creating a directory with the name like mkdir hoping minds. Okay, and then as you can see we are having a directory with the name hoping minds, and now I'm deleting this directory rmdir hoping minds. Okay, and now if you see this, we don't have any directory with the name hoping minds. So this is how we can delete the directory, or how we can create the directory. Okay, so I hope you guys are very much clear with this. Okay, so if we are able to create the directory, are we really able to make a file like in which we are having some information? Means file is something like kind of text file or pdf file or any file like inside the folder. So we are going to do that as well. So now we are done with the directory. Now we are talking about the file commands. What we are having, file commands. So these are the very basic commands, but these commands are very much effective and important, and you should know like how to perform these commands. So the first command in order to I can say create the file which we are having is touch command. Okay, touch, then file name. Okay, so this command is used to create empty directory. What we are having? Empty directory, or we can say 0 KB file. Okay, so with the help of this command we can create a empty file, or we can say 0 KB file. Like how this commands work, let me just show you. So as you can see, I'm inside my what I can say terminal, and I'm just writing first let me just create one folder so that you guys can actually understand properly. So mkdir, and I'm just giving taking a name, so I'm just saying hm for hoping minds obviously. And then as you can see, I'm inside this hm hoping minds, and now I want to go inside this directory. Okay, so how I can go inside this directory? So I have already told you cd and hm. So now you just press enter, and as you can see I'm inside this, and let me just show you hm. Okay, we are inside this hm directory, and here I'm just going to create one command file, and the name of this file, let's suppose I'm just naming this file with my name. So I'm just saying touch touch1. So if I press ls, if I type ls and then hit enter, so as you can see we are having one file. Okay, so if you are having a directory, so it will be most of the time it will be in a different color. Okay, so you can recognize, oh, okay, whether like this particular thing is a directory or a file. And here this tajwar is a what I can say file, and this is an empty file. Like inside this file we don't have anything. Okay, so now this is the one way of creating a file. Okay, and if we are done with this, now let me just show you like the another way of creating a file. And in this file we'll be having some content as well. So you need to write cat. Okay, what you have to do, you just have to type cat, then the sign, okay, this greater sign, and then the file name. Okay, so what you can do, you can create a direct file with data, with some data. So what we are doing, we are creating a file with some data. Okay, so now let me just go back, and here I'm just putting inside this hm folder cat, and the name, like I'm just giving a name as, let's suppose, Delhi. Okay, and as you can see I'm inside the in the another line. Okay, so now I'm just writing and pressing enter. So I'm just typing any random data. Okay, and once you are done with this, just press Ctrl D. Okay, and as you can see we have created a file with the name Delhi, and inside this file we are having some data. So now let me just show you ls. And inside this ls, like as you can see, we are having two files. The first one is Delhi and the second one is Tajwar. So this Tajwar file is a what I can say 0 KB file, or we can say empty file, but this Delhi is actually having some data. Okay, so now first of all, let's just understand like how we can check the data, like whether this file is having some data or not. So now in order to check the data, we are having the command cat as well. So here, like earlier, like you were using cat then the sign, greater sign, but here you have to just type cat and then the file name, like cat tajwar. And as you can see we don't have any what I can say data in this particular file. Okay, now cat Delhi, but inside this Delhi we are having some data, and when I'm just hitting enter, as you can see we are having some data inside this. Okay, so in order to create the file, we are having command cat, then the greater than sign, then the file name, and then we have to add some data, then we have to hit like press Ctrl D in order to save the data. And in order to see the data, we can use cat and the name of the file. So let me just show you, let me just write it for you, cat and Ctrl plus D to save the data into the file. Okay, and in order to show, the command is cat file name to show the what I can say data of the file. Okay, with the name, with the help of this cat command, we can actually show the data, we can actually see the data, what exactly the data we are having inside this particular file. So now next command is like, can we really delete this file? Okay, delete these kind of file which we have created just now. So let me just show you. I'm just using rm and the name of the file, which is Tajwar. And if I'm pressing rm means remove, then the file name. And as you can see, we are having only one file, which is Delhi. Okay, so one more time, I'm just pressing rm, then Delhi. And as you can see, if I'm pressing ls, so as you can see, we don't have any file. Earlier we were having some file Delhi and with the name Tajwar, but right now we don't have any file over here. Okay, so this is how we can actually understand, like how we can create the file, how we can delete the file, and also how we can create the directory and how we can delete that particular directory. Okay, so these are the data, the file which we are having. Okay, so now let me just write this for you so that you guys can actually note it down. Rm, then file name, and to remove slash delete. Okay, you can call it as like delete or remove the file. Okay, no matter whether that particular file is having some data or not, you can just delete or I can say remove the file. So first we have understood what I can say, directory, then the file, and now let's talk about the content inside the file. Okay, so now next we are having the category which is file content. Okay, so first inside this file content, let's just create one file first. So as you can see, I'm creating a file inside this hm folder, and the file will be having some data. So I'm creating a file with the name Mumbai, okay, with the separate name, and I'm just writing a random data. Okay, I'm just writing some random data. You can write anything. Okay, and now press D, and as you can see, we are having one file which is Mumbai. Okay, so in order to check the data, we are just having one file. I have already told you, which is cat, and the file name which is Mumbai. And as you can see, we are having this data, but we are having some other operation by which we can do that. First we are having cat command, and the second one which we are having is what I can say, head command. What we are having, head command. And this head command is basically to print the first 10 lines of the content. Okay, so let's suppose we are having 10,000 line of data or content, and with the help of this head command we can print the first 10 lines, the head and the file name. So now let me just write head and the file name, which is Mumbai, and done. And as you can see, earlier like we were having like this much data. Okay, as you can see, like we are having enough data, but right now we are just getting the first 10 lines. So we can count like 1 2, then 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So with the help of this command, we can just check the first 10 lines of the data, what like whether like what kind of this data is, or like it is all about. So we can just check the data. Now another command which we are having is after head, which is tail. And with the help of this tail command, tail file name and the file is Mumbai, we can print the last 10 lines of the file. So as you can see, these are the last 10 lines. Okay, so this is how we can do that. Okay, so I hope you guys are getting this. And with this tail file name, to print the last 10 lines of the last 10 lines of the content. Okay, so now the next command which we are having is like after cat we were having head, tail, and then we are having one more command is tag. Okay, so tag is basically like with the help of cat we can print the data in a proper manner, but with the help of tag we can print the data in a reverse manner. So I'm just doing that, tag. And as you can see, the last line of the data is having hy. Okay, so now tag Mumbai, and as you can see, the first line is hy. Okay, so it is printing the data in a reverse manner. Okay, so with the help of tag file name to print the data in a okay, to print the data in a reverse manner. So I have told you like how you can create a file directory and you can perform lots of commands. So we are already having enough commands, and these commands are very much important, but these commands are very basics and we don't have that much time like where I can actually teach you all the Linux commands, but I think these commands are sufficient. Okay, and also that what I can say, the study material which I'm going to provide you, in that most of the commands will be written, and I'm going to include the other commands as well so that you guys can actually understand more about the Linux as well. Okay, so I hope you guys are getting these things. Now let's just go to our, what I can say, terminal, and now let's just print ls. And as you can see, I'm having one file which is Mumbai. Now remove Mumbai. Mumbai has been removed. Now let's just go back, and here we are having one folder which with the name hm, and I'm removing this folder as well, rmdir hm, and then done. So I have removed each and everything. I have deleted each and every folder and the file as well. I hope you guys have understood this particular thing. So in this particular session, like we have learned like how we can launch the Linux instance and how we can perform various commands on Linux operating system. And also we can, like we have understood like how we can operate and how we can use Linux commands with, like whenever we are using Linux operating system. So I hope you guys have understood all the concept which I have just taught you in this particular session. If you are having any problem, just let me know. But as of now, we are done with this session. So I hope you guys have understood about like how to launch the Linux instance and how we can actually perform various commands when it's come to the Linux part. Okay, and you have understood like how to play with the terminal as well. So that's it for this session. Let's meet in the next session. Thank you so much.